Surendrapuri. More importantly, being a mythological theme park, you are not creating a commercial theme park, which are dime a dozen actually.
Okay.
What kind of thought process went into it?
Many people advised him, why don't you make a school or why don't you donate to a hospital? And he said, this is something that the future generations need to have it. A place like this.
Cultural tourism, because the question obviously would be like to replicate this Surendrapuri experiment elsewhere. I know it's been a challenge doing one project, but then obviously somebody would take an inspiration from that. And do you think it's evolving over the years?
I think now parents, I see a lot of them, they realize that we need to connect to our roots and how important it is to be connected from where we begin.
In terms of when you were the FICCI Flow chairperson, even the rural women,
yes,
their employability in terms of their skills, and how did you bring forth that?
Where we trained women in vocational training in multiple skills, and all these were certified courses. That made a big difference because they started learning it and they started setting up, started working.
Welcome to Conversations. I'm Suresh Kochatal. When you are the daughter of Potti Sreeramulu, who was behind the creation of the state of Andhra Pradesh, you have a legacy that's pretty tall and you need to carry it along. But when you have your image of your own and you have created steps in life which have taken you forward, then it's a different ballgame altogether. Today I have with me a guest, Prathibha Kunda, Managing Director of Surendrapuri, India's first mythological theme park at Yadgiri Gutta on the outskirts of Hyderabad. Welcome, ma'am. Namaste.
Hello. Namaste.
So the obvious question would be, as I said in the introduction, being the great-granddaughter of Potti Sreeramulu, there would have been a lot of legacy with you that you need to carry every time you're there. So tell us a bit about your growing up years and how that shaped your interest in business and also in creativity.
Firstly, I should say, being great-granddaughter of Sri Potti Sreeramulu Garu I think it's a blessing for me. And a legacy like that is something, very special. And growing up years, it was very, very simple. To be very frank, we are always grounded and our family believed that there are no shortcuts. You have to believe in yourself, work. Knowledge is something that they were always very particular, and that is, education is what we give you, and you grow all by yourself. And first thing for them is there's never a discrimination of whether you're a boy or a girl. You grow up according to your capability, and that stays with you, and that is what we give you. If you see, my grandmother was a doctor in those days. My mother, my Pedama, all of them have done double degrees, which in those days was very, very rare to see. So that is how we grew up. And so hard work and education, and that is how we've been grown and we've been taught the values of being simple.
Yeah, being simple and staying grounded, that's a great thing. You have a background in commerce, business management, and of course an interior design. Now that's a very unique combination of communication things, unique combination of things to do. How was that journey?
See, those days, I think there was not too much of choice. Either you take arts or you take sciences. It was like that. And I was not interested in science. So I said, yes, I'm going for arts. And business came in naturally because we come from a business family. My father also came from a small village and started his own industry. So I think business was something that I took up very naturally. And as far as interior designing is concerned, that came up much later after my marriage. I was very keen in creating beautiful spaces. I used to enjoy that. And I wanted to make my house. That's how it started, the whole interest. I said, okay, my house is getting delayed. Let me first learn interior designing. If not mine, I can make other people's houses. So that is how I started this course. And it was definitely helpful because my husband shifted into real estate. And being in the space of interior designing, I could understand the design much better, understand the concepts much better. So then I started coordinating in his projects for all the common spaces, all the landscaping, and it was something that I always loved. So I think that was I think I was very happy doing it.
Surendrapuri is still one of its kind that is there project, and naturally when you are kind of groomed to take over that in terms of running the place, obviously your entire interior design also would have played a part in it.
Yeah.
But more importantly, being a mythological theme park, you're not creating a commercial theme park, which are dime a dozen actually.
Right.
What kind of thought process went into it?
So when we started this project, the first thing was we wanted to create a space for mythological awareness. My father-in-law wanted to make something in his son's name, his younger son who passed away. In name of Surendra, he said, let me do something.
Okay.
Many people advised him, why don't you make a school or why don't you donate to a hospital? But he was very keen in Indian mythology. And he said, this is something that the future generations need to have it. A place like this. And so thus started our journey, and it was almost a 10 years of research that he did. Went around all the places in India, traveled to so many temples. So many, I think he used to make a small team of group and of people and go around. So that was something, and collected a lot of information. Ipurlaga, there's not much of Google or, things like that. So he had to go collect pictures, get them references, file them up. So that is how the research started for 10 years. And then came Surendrapuri. And finally, when we made it, it was a 3-kilometer pathway with 100+ temples, replicas, with all the stories of Rama and Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, Saptalokas, everything in one place. And it was very interesting when we were making it. With 350+ exhibits, 3,000+ statues, it became a magnanimous project that we didn't even think of it when we started our journey.
Typically, what would take a day's time to see the entire thing, or more than a day?
See, if you go story by story, yes, it takes 3+ hours.
Okay, that's
yeah. So you go one by one.
So a mythological theme park is also deeply cultural, as you said rightly.
Yeah.
In terms of the research that you get into, in terms of presenting it to people. In terms of holding their attention, what kind of detailing went into? Because today's generation is Instagram generation.
Correct.
They have only 30 seconds.
Yes.
Whatever story you want to tell them, you need to tell in 30 seconds.
Right.
Now, when you say a theme park, obviously their idea of theme park is something different.
Right.
The older generation would still accept it. They would still go around.
Yeah.
And for a person like me who comes from what is a place called God's own country, which is Kerala, but in terms of telling a story, and I would love to tell stories like that.
Yeah.
In terms of what a Padmanabha Swami temple or what Guruvayur is, or whatever the
Right.
other things. So when you made Surendrapuri as such, in terms of, as you said, it evolved over a period of time.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a lot of cultural thought that would have gone into it. And you said, okay, fine. This is how we doing about it. Maybe we are not perfect. We will make those changes as we go along. Was it
Correct.
that way?
There was a lot of trial and error because,
Okay.
see, one thing, this project did not have a reference from where we started.
Okay.
So in those days, we didn't even know, as you said today, theme park, that day we didn't know what to call it.
Okay.
Should we call it an awareness center? Should we call it a museum? Should we call it a theme park? There was so much because it was the first of its kind. And where we were making one Vishnu Lokam or a Brahma Lokam, even to visualize a project and the magnanimous size of it was something very, very tough. And having no architect for the whole thing, no support system also, right?
Okay.
So we were creating something that was never created before. At least it was mostly in your imagination, and we were creating something from, imagination and coming forward. So when it comes to the story part, yes, there was a base that, we have made. And from 2006, from the time I've started working on it, I wanted to make this storytelling even more, connecting to the present generation. So that was where we said, let us start introducing, stories which everyone may not be able to tell. So let's have audio guides, multilingual audio guides I've added. Then we've started adding augmented reality.
Okay.
And we keep upgrading the technology and always try to develop it and add more facilities and technology so we can connect better to the future generation. And this is something, it's like an ongoing process where we still keep working on it. And it's a continuous process for us.
It's not 20 years since you have taken over. And
15.
that would have been quite a long journey, isn't it, in terms of where you stand today?
Very.
And understanding things around there. Because Uh, Storytelling, as you rightly said, it's a very interesting format. We had grandmothers who told us stories
Correct.
when we were young.
Yeah.
Today, grandmothers are all in the old age homes, so there's nobody to tell the stories. The families have become very nuclear.
Yeah.
Husband and wife are busy making money. The kids are all in the mobile phones. So, in terms of holding the interest, as I rightly come back to same thing again, do you think over the last 20 years, when you see the visitors enjoying it, is there a deja vu moment for you?
That is, I think, what keeps me on. That is what keeps me on. And for the whole family, I should say, because owning a space like this, where every mother, every grandmother or grandfather wants to tell these stories to their children, and owning a property like this, which is so unique in its concept, where it connects to all the families, it gives me a very, very it gives me a lot of satisfaction, and that is what keeps me going on. And whenever we come there, the first thing when we meet anybody is like, how did you get the idea to make a project like this? This is the first question every visitor asks us after he finishes seeing this project. And I think these blessings are something that go on with the family, and it keeps us running to create more, to do more all the time.
And I think being a pioneer, there is a challenge, as you said rightly. There's no model to fall back on.
Right.
But there must have been some fulfilling moment when you finally did Surendrapuri. What was that?
See, this is a dream come true for us. And when I see the satisfaction, each person, when they come out of this place, they can just go on for, hours together just to tell how much they have enjoyed the space. So that is something that really keeps me happy, and for the family also, that, we are very, owning something like a legacy like this is something very special to us.
Being the daughter-in-law of Sri Kunda Satyanarayana, the visionary behind this project, that must have come with a lot of inspiration and responsibility for you. And can you just tell us how has been that relationship that shaped this journey of yours?
I think this is my favorite topic, I should say.
Yes, please go on.
Talking about my father-in-law is something very, very special to me. He's been my inspiration in many ways. I've seen him work hard. He was at the age of 70 is when he was making this project. Visualizing and creating this with so many health issues, but still he would never give up. His dedication to his work, his time management, he would value time, his discipline. Every time, if it is 7 o'clock, I have to be here, means 7 o'clock he used to be there, 5 minutes before, but never late. So that is how he maintained his schedules and his work. And you can see nowadays with so many systems in place, to coordinate something is, so difficult. And just imagine those days to create a project that without an architect, just appointing a sculptor and going ahead. We had artisans coming from pan-India, artists, I think 100 plus artists from Kerala, from Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Calcutta. He had to coordinate with so many people, and the experience that he was creating. Like, for example, if it is temples next to Ganga, we walk in the water and go. If it is Patala Lokam, you go inside. So we have to design the spaces and create that anxiety for the tourist, for the visitor, that, and keep it going on. And 3 kilometers continuously going in circles in the same area, but creating that, interest and making it different everywhere. So I think that was something that I really learned from him, that, he would never leave anything halfway. If I have to finish it, he will make sure he will stay till the end and finish it.
Well, there is an original vision when you come up with a project.
Yeah.
But then you want to bring in your ideas and innovation into it.
Right.
Interior design also allows you to do that.
Yeah.
But when you look at a project like what you've done at Surendrapuri, how is it marrying these two things in terms of there's the original vision, and then you have your innovation and ideas that come to the table?
So for me, I have to keep the original intact. That's the hero of the whole project.
Okay.
So I have to make sure the original is as it is intact, and then enhance it. So if I'm creating a pathway, I can maybe add other features into it, but I can't change the whole scenario there.
True.
So if it is a Mahabharatam, we walk through the same Mahabharatam story, but what other features I can add is where I put in my, effort into it. And how to make it more storytelling, more impressive for people, how can they connect better, these are the things I work on.
When stepping back or stepping forward from Surendrapuri, I would come to the Ficky Flow journey of yours. You were the immediate past chairperson, we can call it,
Yeah.
of Ficky Flow in Hyderabad. In terms of the impactful initiatives that you do, what was the focus during your tenure?
Ficky Flow, I should say, I think is one of the best platforms I have seen for women. Women entrepreneurs, I think everyone should definitely connect to a place like this. As businesswomen, we always have our own businesses and we grow in our own silos, in our own circles. So the growth will always be limited to our circles unless people go beyond. A platform like Ficky Flow and is so good, it connects you, it helps you grow. There's so many technology that comes in, you learn from there. And networking is just sheer power of women coming together. It gives you a lot of strength. When our network grows 100 times more. That is what is the best part. So even if the smallest thing becomes easy for you, when you learn from each other. And throughout my year, I made sure that we work, whether it is learning is always on. So we have to learn financial literacy sessions, AI is coming in, sessions on AI, and latest development in the industries and connecting you. Like, for example, we have MSME has so many facilities.
True.
Lack of awareness, sheer awareness. There are so many facilities that the government is offering to women. And many people do not know, they do not even avail the facilities. Similarly, WeHub is a beautiful platform where we can connect. If you just have an idea, it's enough. They can connect you to every single thing that you require to grow your business. So these are the platforms we always wanted we promote, whether you come into the learning part, you connect to the networking part, you're always there. That is the beauty of this platform.
So when you talk of empowering women from grassroots, this is often talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Right from the Prime Minister to the Chief Minister. Everybody talks of bringing women from the rural hinterlands.
Yeah.
In the urban environment, a woman can survive because they've been through,
Yeah.
they've seen the world.
Yeah.
But a rural woman, when she comes in, like a Lijjat Papad journey that happened. But in terms of when you were the Ficky Flow chairperson, were there instances where you saw that there's one way of bringing, as you said, as much about MSME,
Yeah.
even the rural women,
Yes.
their employability in terms of their skills, and how did you bring forth that?
Yeah. So when we are empowering women, we say, why are we just doing it for ourselves? We should do it even for grassroots. So a part of our work is always at the initiatives. And this year, I'm very happy to say that we set up a skills center in Bongir, where we trained women in vocational training in multiple skills. And all these were certified courses. That made a big difference because they started learning it and they started setting up, working. And we got to numbers, thousands of women where we could go, and we set up a digital lab there, had digital literacy sessions, communication skills, and vocational training. We had tailoring, maggam, all these people, whoever has learned the parlor courses, all of them have started working. That gives me a lot of satisfaction when we see they've made small groups and going to in and around villages and working. They've set up their own parlors, or they've set up work from home. Somebody set up their tailoring and maggam center. So this gives me a lot of satisfaction because we didn't do a half job. Like, we made sure the circle was completed. It was not like a short course done, but it was a proper course with which they could start working. And one more very important thing we picked up is we pick up a handicraft or a handloom every year. So this year we took the Dokra art from Adilabad, where we did design intervention, trained them in latest contemporary designs. So now they have got that capability of making new designs, and almost 5 villages came into the scope, and I'm really happy that their products are being sold everywhere now, and I think we've made a documentary on this just to show how difficult the art is. It is a 4,000-year-old craft, which we wanted to, revive it and get the latest designs on it. So this gives me a lot of satisfaction. I mean, working on this front.
That's wonderful to hear. Often you did mention about MSMEs there, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like any other startup, there has to be a failure in it. A few will fail anyway.
Correct.
But what are the challenges that you see in today's environment? Because today you are in a world where tariffs threaten you by the day, the wars threaten you by the night.
Right.
And you don't know what's happening tomorrow. So there's no prediction that you can make.
Yeah.
In such a scenario, what are the challenges today that a person who's running an MSME faces?
See, number one, MSMEs gives you great support. These are volatile times that nobody can predict. But as a business, when you're running, it definitely gives you a lot of safety and support system. That is what you require when you start your own business, when you take over and want to grow your business. That support system is something which we do not get outside.
I mean, that is because, again, Prime Minister Modi speaks of this particular thing. He goes to different conferences. There was the AI summit that happened in Delhi. But, the point is, India has got so many people bubbling with ideas,
Yeah.
We are a nation where possibly the food delivery itself has become a big concept by itself.
Yeah.
It provides employment, in a right way or wrong way, to hundreds and thousands of youngsters. But more importantly, there was also the fact that you had your own entrepreneurial ventures also.
Yeah.
So now that you're bringing your skill to the table now, Sierra Retreat and Pradhan Conventions.
Yeah.
What drives you? On one hand, you have Surendrapuri, and on one hand, you have these ventures.
Yeah.
How different was it? Like a chalk and cheese?
They're totally different. Surendrapuri is something that gives me a lot of satisfaction.
Okay.
But I was being in the construction field, my husband, so we were into Pradhan Conventions. I said, why? And again, the concept of Pradhan was like in the city, a convention center like this with an extraordinary design. That captured my interest. I said, something very interesting. Let me, take it up. And that's how I got into the conventions. And Sierra Retreat is again a Balinese theme landscape convention space. So that is also, I'm very much into greenery. I love it. So I said, again, it's a very different venture. So it captured my interest. So that's how we got into this.
But then one is a cultural center.
Right.
And one is a commercial venture. Let's be clear on that, because then, one you do it out of pure passion.
Right.
And the other one also has passion, but there is a business built into it.
Correct.
You can't have a convention center and run it empty there. Also.
Yes.
You need to make money out of it.
Yes.
So how has been this balancing act?
See, every project is different, and everywhere we have to do our own homework from the scratch, because this project also was very new, something that we had never entered or ventured, into a convention space. So we had to connect to a lot of people, the people in the business, how to, grow, how to start even a convention center. From there, we had to connect to different people. So I think every project comes with a challenge. So what you ultimately gain from it is different as per the projects, I feel, whether it's somewhere it is the satisfaction that drives you and somewhere is the money that drives you. But yes, it's ultimately, they're different projects.
No, cultural tourism, and I was in Puri, Konark and Lingeshwar last week, and I found something very amazing, the number of people who are traveling to tourist destinations.
Yeah.
Konark, for example, as you must have seen,
it's such a beautiful structure.
The scientific way of how, centuries ago, our kind of artisans those days could decipher how much a day would be, how many minutes would be there in a day, and how many seconds would be there in a minute, and the way they have put it across, it was fascinating.
Yeah.
And the guide was telling me, and I was like thinking back, how did these people arrive at that calculation? How did they know?
Such an impressive structure.
13th century, how did they know that such a thing could be done? Anyway, the question was also that in terms of cultural tourism, because the question obviously would we like to replicate this Surendrapuri experiment elsewhere. I know it's been a challenge doing one project, but then obviously somebody would take an inspiration from that and start it, say, in Gujarat, or say would start it in Kerala, for example. That look, we can do something like this for each state. There can be something. So cultural tourism, because as Amitabh Bachchan used to run those famous Gujarat tourism ads saying, "Kuch din guzaro Gujarat mein."
Yeah.
Do you think it evolving over the years? I mean, today has Surendrapuri become a part of Hyderabad's Salajang Museum, Golconda Fort, Ramoji Film City? Has that extended to Surendrapuri as well?
Yeah, so cultural tourism is definitely one of the biggest thing that's coming up, because I think now parents, I see a lot of them, they realize that we need to connect to our roots and how important it is to be connected from where we begin. So I think that is something we see over and over everywhere, because the day you're not connected, you just, I mean, it's gone.
That's
you
true.
just fall down. However, the tree might be growing big, but without the strong roots, it just falls down someday. So I think a lot of people are realizing day by day, and cultural tourism is picking up by the day.
If I give you an option of describing your mission in one sentence going forward, what that mission would be, what is that one sentence would be like?
Connect to your roots and grow.
Wonderful. On the personal side, of course, you have Ekabana and Carnatic music also as a part of your deep interest in art and craft forms. Now, how did these also kind of influence your leadership style as you went forward? Because these are, again, totally different from...
I don't think it's more a passion for me, being connected, and it's a nice stress buster for me, and I really enjoy both Ekabana and Carnatic music. It gives me a lot of satisfaction, and that's why I continue. And I always insist that we should have our own hobbies, our own interests to fall back. Otherwise, life is a race. You can't keep running around all the time. You need to take a break and enjoy life, because this is only one life, and we definitely don't want to run continuously without a break. When we enjoy, then.
No, that's about to ask you about work-life balance, because I'm very bad at it. So I was about to ask you on that. Anyway, you answered it. But the question also would be in terms of you love traveling. Okay?
Yes.
You travel a lot. Has there been one place or one experience that you said, wow, that is my wow moment?
I've loved Russia. Russia was something very interesting. The structures there, the architecture, the artwork, that really impressed. I mean, in the smallest of the smallest spaces also, the design that they would put in was something I had never expected. I've never seen anything before that where there, so much of art was being created in every place.
And that would also go back to centuries, isn't it?
Yes. So that was something I really was impressed with.
So the question obviously would be, as we come to the close of the conversation, is in terms of asking you a few things that you can answer in a sentence or a couple of sentences. One word that defines Surendrapuri.
Unique.
Unique. Okay. A leader whom you admire the most.
My father-in-law.
I was about to say that would be it. A destination that is still there in your bucket list.
Japan.
Japan. Okay, wonderful. Ikebana or music, what relaxes you most?
Both. But if I have to choose, then music.
What relaxes you most?
Yeah.
So that was what it is. So as we leave this concept of the viewers, as I talked to you, it's a wonderful conversation. But as we go along, especially those who want to build something meaningful in life, those who want to make it a very lasting impression, what would be the advice you give to such, I wouldn't call them entrepreneurs, I would call them visionaries, or I would call them dreamers, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What is the advice that you would give to them? Because you have seen so many ups and downs, obviously, in your entrepreneur life. What advice would you give them?
Follow your passion and don't give up. There will be days which are, low, and there will be days which are high, but just go on. That is what will, ultimately take you to where you have to reach.
I know entrepreneurs in India often face, tough choices because we are not, even though in terms of, doing business, we have gone up in ranking and all that, these are doing business. But when it comes to women entrepreneurs, because women especially have to balance a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
They have the family commitment sometimes, and then they have to find time to do their passion or whatever you want to call it. So what kind of challenges do you see for women entrepreneurs?
Firstly, what I see is it's a male dominated space. So it's very difficult for them to come up. And secondly, what I see is lack of the financial stability. Basically, finances are not available. So that is one space where women always face a challenge. Main thing is there are a lot of spaces like, our MSME is offering so much, but women do not, know about it. There's lack of awareness. And when they, if you see, as per Fortune India, March edition, we've seen that less than 2% of women get the venture capitalist globally. That shows how less the amount they get. At the same time, within India, if you see, out of 100 rupees, only 4 rupees is what a women entrepreneur gets. So that is a space that I think that always, affects women to grow. And as you say, the support system at home is the most important for them to come out. So these are the majorly 3 challenges I see for women to, grow in their own businesses.
That's wonderful. There are many lessons you would have learned in your life as an entrepreneur, be it Surendrapuri, be it Fiki Flow, be it your ventures that you've done in conventions and other places, resorts. What are the takeaways for that?
When in the early years, when I was in my early 20s, I always wanted a designation next to my name. I always say, give me a designation, something that I have, I would like to talk about it.
You can call it your own.
I can call it my own. So that's when I started. And when I started Sierra Retreat, I said, I'll finish the project in 2 months. How much does a landscape project take? And I took 8 months. And by the time I finished Pradhan, I did a 50,000 square feet of space. In 3 months, I finished the interiors. That was the speed at which I learned and worked.
Okay.
So, and I did 5 different projects in 1 year at different levels. It taught me a lot about time management, putting your discipline in place, being committed. And that is when, we grow. So ultimately, I think it always took back to the earlier version of what I have learned was there are no shortcuts. You just need to learn and grow and go step by step. That's it.
It was wonderful speaking to you, Prathibha Kunda ji. And as a managing director of Surendrapuri and other ventures and Fiki Flow, I'm sure your life's journey will be a lesson, will be a kind of a mirror for many wannabe women entrepreneurs who are there in the sidelines waiting to take their dreams to a next higher level. Thank you for it. Thank you for speaking to us. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Prathibha Kunda, Managing Director of Surendrapuri. And of course, Fiki Flow. As a past chairperson, she talked a lot about what she did there, the lessons that she learned, the kind of entrepreneur ventures that she has seen there. And of course, as she says, going along, she wants something unique like Surendrapuri to be there. Maybe life has lessons in it. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.